You hit a 3 at the buzzer to lead your team to the Final Four. You set the record for most steals in a single season, and after years of watching the final game from your living room, you finally become a world champion. Prepare yourself for the best basketball games of all time. I'm Diane Mizota, and welcome to Filter, a hand-picked top 10 video game countdown as voted on by you, the viewer, at G4TV.com. In 1946, the Basketball Association of America had 11 teams. Players made an average of $5,000 a year, and slam dunking was considered bad form. Oh, how times change. Today, the average pro salary is $2.1 million, and if you ain't dunking, then you ain't playing. Most of us stand a better chance of choking on a hot dog than playing in the pros, which is why we love digital b-ball. But before we get to the top 10 best basketball games of all time, let's find out what jersey you like to wear when you're representing and exactly what it takes to be considered great.
I think the most important thing for basketball is that it either has to be completely unrealistic in a sense like the NBA jams or NBA Street, or it has to be perfect physics and very playable with season modes and things like that, so you can really accomplish what you want from a basketball game.
I think the basketball game has to be really fun and kind of like, not like basketball, like a real video game, you know, where you can do anything.
Making the players obviously look as close as they obviously are. And I think making it more and more realistic, just bringing the actual person into it, the facial features, the body, everything that's involved.
A great basketball game is one that usually involves a ball that's on fire.
Big plays, you know, and amazing dunks, flips and spins in the air, things like that are what make the game fun to me.
The qualities that make up a great basketball game, I feel, is the music. Other elements of the games that I like are the graphics, particularly the slam dunks, and just to see that you're playing with actual real players. So it's fun to play with the LA Lakers since I'm an LA Laker fan.
The Lakers. I'll loyal to the Lakers every day.
Well, unfortunately, I'm a Golden State Warriors fan.
I just rock my hometown. That's it. Chicago. Represent.
I know the Bulls won a bunch of times, so just kind of stick with them, or the Lakers.
Everybody knows what the rules of basketball are. You play, you got to get that little ball in the hoop. But the difference between successful basketball games and failures has really been the way that the camera's been handled. Interacting in the game rather than spectating is key.
Cover boy Tracy McGrady may get nothing but net on the court, but on this countdown, he's being benched. NBA Shootout 2004 picks in at 10.
NBA Shootout 2004. I really like the graphics in that game. I think they've really taken the next level to make it very realistic, kind of a little more user-friendly than the older type of NBA games that came out.
After playing the game, it seems to be one of the better games that I've played. Definitely the graphics have definitely stepped up. Before the shootout games were kind of dull and stale, but 2004 with me on the cover, this is by far the best basketball game I've played.
NBA Shootout 2004 is a good game because it had a lot of like detail in it, like the characters. Like if you were playing Kobe, he was like really like Kobe. Also had like a practice mode, so you could get kind of a leg up on your competition and go into the regular mode and like, you know, just dunk on them.
From the present Orlando Golden Boy to a past one, Shaq blesses the cover of NBA Hoops. Yes, that's hoops with a Z. Ballers everywhere have finally gotten the threesome they've been dreaming of. It pivots its way into 9.
When you talk about NBA hoops, it's NBA jams on steroids. They've taken it, made it bigger, better, jump higher, dunk harder. I mean, it's not many things you can't do. So when you talk about an arcade-type basketball game, it's no other game but NBA hoops.
I don't remember much about NBA hoops, but I remember that they had Shaq on the cover with a flaming basketball looking all mean, which was pretty tight.
Well, in NBA hoops, Shaq is kind of the role model or the star of the game. I mean, he's unstoppable in it. He's just like a monster, just blocking shots all over the place, and he's great. Love Shaq.
Tracy and Shaq have nothing on these next two legends, like age. Michael Jordan and Larry Bird are two of the world's greatest players of all time. And when they aren't busy retiring and then unretiring and then playing baseball and opening restaurants and then whatever, they're reminiscing about this fan favorite. Jordan versus Bird one-on-one for the good old NES rebounds its way into the 8th spot.
Jordan versus Bird one-on-one is a classic basketball game in my eyes. I mean, it was real simple. The graphics weren't great, but you had everything from doing the Jordan dunk contest, and then doing the Larry Bird three-point contest was fun. And then you could play one-on-one, Jordan versus Bird, which is just about as good as it gets. It was a good balance, because Jordan was insane, but so was Bird. It was a blast.
Yes. Jordan versus Bird one-on-one. I mean, you get this guys, and it's just, you know, the graphics, I mean, if you're looking at it now, we're so crap, but you're playing, and I swear to God, I was Larry Bird out there shooting threes, you know, with the turnaround jumper. Once in a while, you would dunk it, and it'd be so cool. And, you know, I'd be darned if I wasn't Larry Bird when I was playing Larry Bird.
Nobody on the court ever looked better in a pair of Daisy Dukes than Larry Bird. Well, maybe Isaiah Thomas. We have to make a fast break to some sponsors here, but don't go shattering the glass just yet, because we've got more cross-court dribbling coming your way right after this quick timeout. Okay. Welcome back to Filter. I'm Diane Mizota, and we're counting down the best basketball games ever. The rankings for Filter shows come directly from the responses you post on the G4 website. To make your vote count, log on to g4tv.com/filter and select the Filterator. Then choose a category, vote on a scale of 1 to 10, and we'll take care of the rest. While you're there, be sure to post your suggestions for topics and games you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Now, when I think of college, I think of beer, boys, and I mean studying and hanging out in the library. But for these guys, they're just thinking about making it to the Final Four. NCAA March Madness 2004 alley-oops its way into number 7.
March Madness 2004 is great. Anytime you incorporate March Madness, I'm going to be a big fan of it because college basketball is the most exciting sport in the world, I think.
You know, that's always kind of a fun game to play. You could play your favorite college team. There's players that you know, so it's kind of neat to actually be that person.
This game has been big for this university for the last 100 years, so let's go out and play with an extra sense of pride.
When March rolls around, all you want to do is be playing the top 64, get in the tournament, and try to work your way to the top.
Whether you're reminiscing about college or that time you threw a brick during the final seconds of the state finals, it's always good to acknowledge your past. So prepare yourself as we sprint down Dreamcast lane with NBA 2K1 at 6.
NBA 2K1 was awesome. That was for the Dreamcast, had Iverson on the cover, and it allowed so much in-depth gameplay. You could make your own team, so you could have one guy who was 7'8" and 600 pounds, and he was just swatting balls, and it was so customizable that it was a blast. You're playing 82-game seasons, players of the week, all-star games, really in-depth stats. It was just an amazing game. Loved it.
can work your strategies, you can work your plays, you can trade players and different teams and like that. And it just gives the versatile. I like the versatile of the game. You know, the more you can do with the game, the better it is.
That's when I think basketball games really started tightening up. You know, you had good control between the players, even though you had, 5 guys on your team, and it was a great multiplayer game.
Well, every great countdown needs a great interruption. And who better to barge into the middle of this one than the guys who are big enough to? We asked a couple of real NBA players, what's it like to see yourself in a video game? And well, here's how they responded.
I really don't play too much video games, but my roommates and stuff are on it all day. So, you know, they try to dunk with me all the time on the video game, so they try to give me a little pointer.
You ever get any basketball games, check out your own skills in the game?
Check out it live a little bit. You know, I be trying to use myself too much, so I got to stay away from it.
Up like 60.
Yeah, losing, so I got to stay away from that.
I feel funny going out there playing with myself, because all I'm going to do is shoot every time with me.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm playing a video game and I'm playing with the Sonics, I don't think nobody else on the team going to get a shot. I'm taking every shot. I'm taking every shot, even if we lose.
It feels good, I've been playing video games my whole life and been watching guys, and now I don't have to create myself anymore. I'm already on the game, so it feels good.
And they can say your name, and it looks like you too, so that was cool.
They give me a different hairstyle every game and all that, but my game is all right.
I mean, that's something I would never expect growing up. And like I said, when I see it, it's just like a blessing to me knowing that I came so far and I've got on the video game. The video game's got a lot of creativity, you go up and do some stuff, you haven't done in a game, so I'm going to take a few things from there, a few things from TV, and, put them all together.
Because, people are saying, you're only as good as you are on a video game these days, in all these sports games.
Oh, they're lying about that.
All right, man, appreciate your time. Good luck.
It's time to get back to the countdown and check in on our middle child. The second NES title to make the countdown has you hitting 3s, but unfortunately its skyhook doesn't sync. Double Dribble is at 5.
Double Dribble for the Nintendo, you could pass all the way from one end of the court to the other, or shoot, from near end, and no one else could run down there fast enough.
You have like 6 or 7 teams to play with that are all these kind of fake NBA teams.
They had the mascots, right? Why did people forget about the mascots? That's not in games anymore. The cheerleaders, the mascots, people, programmers, put them back.
I remember thinking it was so amazing when I was a kid playing Double Dribble, because when you go and pull off a dunk, it would do this cutaway scene to this close-up, like, back jam or, whatever. And it was kind of a big step in graphics for the old 8-bit NES, I think.
From one crashing glass to another, number 4 is all about the ESPN branding. Every sports fan feels at home with ESPN NBA basketball thanks to the commentary from Kevin Frazier. It bounces in at number 4.
ESPN NBA basketball for the Xbox is unbelievably realistic.
ESPN obviously puts out a great product. You got a lot of the sports announcers, they kind of bring a little bit more livelihood to the game.
Welcome to the new home of the NBA here on ESPN.
It's a little bit more what you hear, what you see on the highlights. It's really kind of putting the player into the whole system.
This guy is lightning quick.
They got the texture down, they got the shading down, they got the sounds down, and it's like watching TV. With these camera angles, these highly complex games, you can forget, and then, you lose focus very easily because you get stuck in the eye candy, but the game itself is just horribly realistic and wonderful.
So, those 7 games have solidified their place in digital basketball history, but 3 remain. Will Live establish their position as king of the hard court, or will Jam put on their full court press and take home the championship trophy? Stick around and find out when Filter returns. Welcome back to Filter. I'm Diane Mizota, counting down the best basketball games of all time. With only the top 3 remaining, let's scour the bench and find out whose playing time is officially over. NBA Shootout 2004 loses their stamina early and fouls out at number 10. NBA Hoops is hip enough to sneak into number 9. Jordan versus Bird one-on-one pump fakes its way into 8. NCAA March Madness 2004 gets busted for traveling and lands the 7th spot. Number 6 reuses our cup coasters with NBA 2K1. The shot clock turns to 0 as Double Dribble takes 5, and number 4 gives us a reason to skip SportsCenter with ESPN NBA basketball. So those 7 games go home ringless. And now enters the excitement of overtime. Our next game brings the pleasure of kicking some NBA butt out of our living rooms and into our local arcades. So check the couch for quarters as NBA Jam steals the 3rd spot.
NBA Jam is by far the coolest basketball game of all time. There's nothing cooler than shattering backboards and just destroying your opponents in it. It's like a combination of Mortal Kombat and a basketball game.
NBA Jam is one of the better basketball games because something about seeing, a guy with a big clown head doing 3 flips through the air and dunking and catching the rim on fire. That's just great in any game.
The guy spinning in the air with the shoes on fire, you're on fire, the 3-point shots, everything. That works. Yeah, that game was cool. That game was real cool because even though it was like really unrealistic, it was just fun to get secret players, secret characters.
We want to use our second time out here and spend a little quality time with some very important people. We went out and double-teamed a few of you to get the scoop on turning tricks.
My best strategy for playing basketball games is that no matter what, you've got to just be shooting a lot. You can't try to necessarily set up an offense and just work the ball in like you do in real basketball. You have to kind of be pushing for fast breaks, going for dunks, shooting 3-pointers, and just hope you get a rebound.
My strategy is just to move my fingers quicker than my opponents. That usually does the trick. A lot of head bobs. Sometimes you push the button really quick. The buttons are sensitive, so you can fake out your opponent, then make a shot.
When I put my teams together in basketball games, I like to use realistic teams, work through and actually try to shoot with the shooters, use the centers how you're supposed to, like a real game would play.
Basketball, I don't have any tricks.
Trying to figure out tricks or strategies, try to find the player who seems to be hot, letting the game come to you and not trying to force it.
I'll pick the players on the other team and I'll double team them, like they're the guard or they're their power forward, depending on who their good player is. And offensively, I go with the Phil Jackson triangle offense. Usually that's the way it goes.
Just getting in people's face, I think it shows a level of confidence, how to break down your opponents. It's definitely your attitude on the court.
When in doubt, dunk. Stick your tongue out too. Chicks like it.
Well, we've watched hopelessly as 8 titles were stripped of their jerseys. Now 2 remain, but only one will get the banner as the battle of the EA games begins. Do you believe that NBA Live 2004 has the ball handling skills to block out the competition? Or have you chosen the NBA Street Series as your preferable dream team? It's time to find out as Street meets Live for the final game in another Filter Face-Off.
Yeah, NBA Live, the whole EA Sports series, so realistic. I mean, every detail from the guys' tattoos to what sneakers they wear. It's, when they say it's in the game, it really is all in there.
It's really up in your face. It's really fast. They cut, they cut real quick. They got a lot of cool moves, like I give it respect.
That's another game that I felt that was very user-friendly. The graphics, each year they seem to do better with the graphics, make it more realistic, put a lot of the player moves in there.
It's very in-depth. It's got all the NBA players, all the NBA teams, and it's really got everything you'd want from a 5-on-5 NBA simulation style. It's just totally addictive and an amazing game.
NBA Street is the best basketball game of all time. Honestly, I mean, the fantasy element, the game breaker dynamics, excellent camera work, great character customization, attributes, the RPG element, all of it together is a recipe for an awesome sports game.
NBA Street's cool because you get to see players playing outside of the court, you know, where they're like gods of the playground. It's pretty cool.
There's a lot more, you know, opportunities to trash talk and, you know, a lot more, you know, flair to it. So I think that makes it more interesting. You stand next to your buddy on the couch and, you know, just makes it a little more exciting.
In Filter Face-Off for the two top games, I'd probably go with Street. That's a little bit more my style. I like it because it adds something different than just regular basketball.
The polls are closed, the votes are counted, and the best basketball game of all time is the Street Series. So, 9 titles have fouled out, and the most valuable player is NBA Street. That wraps up this episode of Filter. Remember, the opinions expressed on this show are yours, not mine. So make your vote count on future episodes by logging on to the Filter show page at g4tv.com/filter. Until then, I'm Diane Mizota, and I'll see you at the next pickup game.
The hottest gear. The latest gadgets. All the things you need. And some you might not. Join Diane Mizota as Filter gets the lowdown on all the high tech at the Consumer Electronics Show, Monday night at 10.